Hello and welcome to one more edition of What Matters Most. It's been a while, but we're back and we're in Auburn, California. I'm in the presence of Honey Cowan. She is the founder of Healing Pastures at Seahorse Ranch. I picked this show to be focused on what she does because there's a need for healing in this world. And what she offers is awesome for kids with special needs, for kids in the autism spectrum, and so forth. I will let her explain what she does. Honey, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Can you tell us a bit more about the reason why you decided to start this healing posture, which is amazing? I've been here and I see that there are horses and there are lots of instructors and children.
Well, I can tell you the way it started. A long time ago, I'm a therapist, and I went to a hypnosis training, and it happened to be on a ranch. And it was really interesting because when I went under, horses kept coming up. And at one point, they asked me to integrate a dichotomy, and I chose work and performance anxiety and work. And the horse's behind came right in my face, and I decided, well, that was me. Anyway, horses were just so wonderful for me, and I'd never ridden, and they put me on a horse, and I had no performance anxiety. And I thought, this is something that the world needs to deal with. And so the woman, I said, I want to buy your horse, and she said, it's not for sale. I said, everything's for sale. Anyway, to make a long story short, she heard her back, and she called me and said, you still want to buy Maggie? And I said, is it still Monday? And at the time, I was working in a crisis shelter for at-risk adolescents. And I hooked up with Jerry Harper, who was head of juvenile probation. And so my first contract was with juvenile probation. And I started a long time ago working with at-risk youth. And I worked with at-risk youth until 98. And we moved up here. And although we still work with at-risk youth, we now work with them more in a community service way, but we're more healing right now. And so we work with youth that have special needs. We work with physical and special, but mostly psychological. We work with adults. We have a cancer survivors group. What we try to do is we try to reach out in the community, see what the need is, and fill it.
That's amazing. I'm really grateful that you do this. I've read up a lot about horses being used in therapy for PTSD, for veterans and children. And I'm just mesmerized by the stories that you have to tell. And so when you started this, what were the challenges you had to face and how did you overcome them in terms of creating so much space and matching instructors with children and other special needs children and so forth?
Well, first of all, horses don't judge and horses don't lie. Horses don't care what you look like, they read the inside. And that's kind of magical. And
it
so,
is.
The kids learn that how they're going to be is how the horse is going to be their mirror. And so if they're acting up, you can be guaranteed the horse is going to let them know that's not okay. And the one thing I never tell kids, how people all the time say, you got to be the boss? I never ever say that to my kids. I say you need to be a partner with your horse.
That's a good one, a partner. I like that.
And that's what they do. And so when they come, we start at 3. And we have a horse that's the most amazing horse that ever lived. She's from Iceland. And she was second in the Icelandic Championships. And she went crazy on the plane. And they couldn't sell her. So they called me and said, if you want her, we'll sell her to you for what it costs to bring her over. Now, I don't let my horses be beaten or even pushed into compliance.
Absolutely.
You have to be partners with my horse. And this little horse, in 2 weeks, she was right back. She wasn't crazy. She just had trauma. That's what my kids have. And when the kids have trauma, it's just like the horse. You can heal them with love and caring.
Absolutely. Love heals everything. And I was able to observe the children here interacting with Honey. And it's just extraordinary to see the interaction between you and the children, and the hugs and the kisses that you get?
I get teary. It means so much to me. We have a little 5-year-old who said nothing. He's autistic. His first word was horse. His second word was Mally, the name of the horse he rode. He's 5. He rides Mally independently. Mally was a horse that was rescued. When he first came, he tried to jump over the wash rack. You couldn't put a saddle. You couldn't put a bit. And now he rides with 5-year-old autistic kids, really happy. And this little boy rides him independently, and he now has a full vocabulary.
Yeah, that's incredible. I observed Mally, and you'll be able to see Mally. We have some footage of him and his father. What I found interesting about yesterday when I was here was the fact that Mally was asking for, he wanted another horse.
Right.
A better horse.
He wanted a bigger horse.
A bigger horse, okay. That's progress. I thought I was witnessing a miracle here.
And he came one day and he said, "Honey, I want to ride a bigger horse." And so we put him on chase. And lo and behold, he rode a bigger horse.
That's incredible. Well, I would like to speak a little bit more about how your psychotherapy practice works, and which children do you introduce to horses, and how do you do that? How do you decide which children need to use horses for therapy? Because not all of them use horses,
No.
but some.
The point is, we do a wide variety of things. We have our mission statement is to use equine, animal, and agriculture-related services to help those with special needs and individual needs. And our goal is for health and healing, but the back is really courage, confidence, and caring. And so it doesn't matter whether you have special needs or individual needs, you still need to learn courage, confidence, and caring. And that's the C part of Seahorse Ranch. And the healing part is the Healing Pastures
It's
part.
the Healing Pastures. It's absolutely incredible. Digging a little bit more into the Healing Pastures, it is a nonprofit, and you do survive on donations.
A very nonprofit.
I have a couple of flyers here. One is about the June 4th. On June 4th, you have an event here called Family Fun Day. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
We love it. And we send notices to all the schools, and the whole community. It's open to the community. There's no cost to come because we just like people to be here. And then we put straw bales all over the ranch, and people sit on straw bales. The Lions come and they serve hamburgers and hot dogs, and they donate them to us.
That's awesome.
And Echo Valley donates, they loaned us the hay bales, and then we use them, and then we take them back. We have introductory horse rides, which the kids all love. And then we do face painting. We have a bounce house. We do horseshoes. We usually do a mini horse show. And our little mini horse's name is October, but I call her Sassy Pants. And so the little kids get to see what it's like on the other side of sassy.
Right.
And so they're sassy with their parents, but the horse is sassy with them. And that's a learning experience too. Mm-hmm. We have 32 animals. Mm-hmm. All of our horses but one are rescued. Mally is a really good example. And you know how they tell you have to beat on your horses and stuff? No, we don't do that. We believe that you have to love them into compliance. And it's the same.
And it works. I've seen them. They're very obedient. It is the right method, and I think it applies to human beings too.
Absolutely.
Horses, children, same thing. Love wins every time.
I agree.
Absolutely. So, when did you start this project? Because you used to live in the Bay Area, and your husband was a doctor, and he decided that he would sell his practice in the Bay Area and move here. Nope. How did he do it?
Good for you. No, actually, he didn't sell his practice. Actually, he kept it.
Okay.
And he would commute back and forth. And the reason we moved here, because when we first started, we started with probation. And of course, probation kids run up the manure pile. These weren't special needs. They were at risk. And I said, we can't do this. We can't be in a public barn. Even though the San Francisco Chronicle and all these people came out to see what we did, which was cool. We needed a place that was just, if we were going to start doing therapy, then we needed a place that was more private. Now, even my therapy practice, which is a private practice, people have to understand that confidentiality here extends to the ranch. There's no way you can walk around the ranch without seeing other people. So people are told when they first come, for a lot of reasons, I can do therapy in my office, and I can work with a lot of problems, but I can't teach courage and confidence in my office. But I can teach courage and confidence on a horse.
And talking about that, you mentioned the 3 C's.
Courage,
confidence,
and caring.
And caring. That is just awesome. I love that.
That's what
I was trying to remember the 3 C's. I knew confidence was one of them. And I was able to observe one of the children standing up on the horse and laying on the horse. And, that builds confidence and
that little
balance.
That little girl, she stopped about 3 months ago, and her mom said every day, she said, when can I go back? When can I go back? When can I see Honey? When can I get on the horse? And things like that just touch my heart.
Absolutely.
They really do.
It is the way forward. I was also looking at, you talked about the events, and that's all fine. You had some health issues that you had to fight, and how did you manage the healing postures while you were recovering from cancer and being treated for cancer?
Well, I believe that you can heal, and I believe that there's a lot of mind over it, and I had a mission. I wasn't going to die because I had a mission.
Exactly.
And so I used everything because I had cancer. We have a cancer survivors group because I know what horses did for me, and I said if they can do that for me,
absolutely,
they can do it for others. And
so cancer survivors do come here.
And Sutter actually sponsored it, so we got a grant from Sutter Auburn Faith to do that. And now, not only do we have the cancer group, and we have a garden. We donate most to the Interfaith Food Closet, but we save some for our cancer survivors because it's about as organic as you can get. But occasionally my horse gets some medicine, so there might be a little bit, but overall with 18 horses, it's just a little bit. But they work in the garden, and then they work with the horses. And there's the caring part, because it kind of goes both ways. And again, horses don't care what you look like, so you can come and be yourself and heal. So the cancer group is part of my love. And then we have special needs. We have camps. We have fundraisers. The Family Fun Day is just really fun because it just exposes the whole community to just be here and have fun and see what it's like to heal. And our mission statement is, to provide agricultural, equine, and animal-related services to people with special and individual needs. Now, when I did my nonprofit, they only wanted me to put special needs, but it's not just special; it's individual needs. We all have needs.
Everybody has needs,
and so
absolutely.
So I added in parentheses and individual
needs. Very clever. I
to
love
provide health and happiness, and courage, confidence, and caring.
That's absolutely wonderful. My show has been going on for quite a while. I started off in New Hampshire, and now I'm here. And the title is What Matters Most. And people know me as Louisa Piet, the host of What Matters Most. And I'd like to get to the heart of what drove you to do this. What is it that the world has, and is it the divisions, the infighting, the politicization of everything, and is it what you observed in society that drove you to do this?
Well, think about all the stuff that goes on in our society. Think about prejudice and all that garbage that goes on. And think about the fact that horses don't judge and horses don't lie.
Right.
They don't care what color you are. And so, it's a modeling for kids. If they can come see horses, it's a model for who they are.
That's
and
right.
so if they start out unprejudiced, hopefully they're going to grow up that way.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And I wanted to sort of go deeper into what goes on in society. I was here yesterday, and while the horses were being used for healing and the children were riding, I could hear some shots just around. There's a shooting range around here.
Mm-hmm.
So there couldn't have been a better contrast, I would say, between you trying to heal and animals getting shot just right next to you. Is this what society is like in your view?
But the shooting range is just clay pigeons.
Okay.
And so it's really good for me to be able to use that with kids is if you're going to shoot a clay pigeon.
Clay pigeon, that's right. It's a
really,
learning experience. Yes.
I have a really hard time with trophy hunters. I have a really hard time for killing animals. And so it's a good thing to say it's okay to shoot. It's really good to learn how to shoot, but shoot a target.
That's wonderful.
And the other thing is, the nice thing is, the noise doesn't bother my horses.
I noticed that. I was expecting them to jump and feel nervous, but I noticed that they were just fine. They got used to it because they came after it. They came after the shooting range was there before you started the
So do you remember
Pastures.
seeing that structure around the shooting range?
Yes.
Well,
yes.
People, when I moved here, I knew it was here. And, if you know it's here and you move here, but people would move here and then complain. So what they did was they put up a sound barrier. Somebody paid $250,000 for them to be quiet to put up.
We have some dogs that are very cute.
We have
Honey's
company.
dogs.
We have company.
They're having a little fight.
They're playing. So anyway, this person paid $250,000 to put up this sound barrier. And then what happened was the sound went this way. So then the people on that side started complaining. And I'm going, you knew it was here
Right.
when you moved here.
Right.
Anyway, to make a long story short, they made them take it down. Well, they broke down in our driveway with all this material. And my son said, can we have it? And they said, well, you need to go ask the owner. And he went down, and he said, my mom would like to have it. And he said, who's your mom? And my son said, Honey Cowan. Oh, yes, she taught my kids how to ride. Yes, of course she can have it. Not only that, they are one of our sponsors. We don't complain.
Absolutely.
It's part of the community. They're one of our sponsors. When we have events, we can park here. They let us park down there. So we have
So there's a good relationship between the neighbors, using the shooting range, and you using horses for healing, and I noticed that you have other animals. You have goats, you have a pig, you have some cats. Can you talk about that?
I use all my animals.
You have rabbits.
I have 2 rabbits. I have 3 feral cats. I have a potbelly pig. I have a mini who we call Sassy Pants. I have 12 horses. All but one are rescued horses. And isn't it nice to have rescued horses rescuing kids?
It's just out of this world, and that's the way the world should heal. I think my theory is that there is everything. I call it the universe provides us with everything, and we need to use them properly. And using love as a basis for this is key. And I really appreciate all that you do. I'm a big fan, and I would like the whole world to know about this and try to make the world a better place.
I didn't start riding till I was 52.
Incredible.
And when I had cancer, when you have breast cancer, they tell you to walk up the wall. Well, that's a little boring. That's why I started the cancer group, because for my healing, I used horses. And when I was going to need to walk up the wall, I brushed horses instead.
Right.
And I said, if that can do it for me, then it can do it for other people.
Absolutely. And can you tell me how you managed to reach out to the community? I know that you do some work with some of the police departments or the
I collaborate with anybody I can.
Okay.
So we work with probation.
Okay.
Probation comes out on the weekend and helps us,
Mm-hmm.
which is wonderful because it gives them, they see what we do and it helps them feel better. So we work with CASA, which is Court Appointed Special Advocates. They bring kids here. We work with Ultra Regional, and they work with a lot of autistic kids and special needs kids. We work with the Lions Club, and they have somebody on our board. We work with Pride Industries, and they send, so not only do we work with kids, but we also have special needs volunteers. And so we work with them, and they learn how, and we work with another agency that does rehab. And so I work with people in my office for rehab. I work with people to volunteer with rehab. And what we try and do, as I said, we try to see a need and fill it.
And in terms of keeping, all of these programs going, and the staff, and you represent a wonderful story of a cancer survivor, and I myself am a cancer survivor. We have that in common.
Mm-hmm.
I think we bonded right away. When we met, it was a wonderful experience. And what is it like managing the staff when you're trying to do psychotherapy and being out here with the children? I wanted to introduce your son. I don't know if he's here.
He is.
Okay.
The
Stefan is here.
The interesting about my son is he left, and he went to University of Colorado. He got married and he stayed there. And 7 years ago, my husband died. And when my husband died, he came back, and he stayed because he'd been divorced. He promised his kids he was going to stay there till they were finished high school, which he did. And when he came back, he just stayed. And he said, "You know what, Mom? I've never been happier."
It's amazing.
He works with us in the program. He's kind of property manager.
He does all the handiwork around
He does.
the property, and then I've seen him busy, and he's such a wonderful assistant.
Have you ever watched him when he's out in the arena with the kids?
I need to come back for that.
He gets really silly, and it's so cute to watch because he has the kids go through the poles, and when they go through the poles and they knock him over, he goes, "Oh, what did you do?" And he does this, and the kids start laughing. Well, the thing is, when they're laughing, they're relaxed. And so you can't laugh and be uptight at the same time. So he does his little,
tricks.
He does his little clown show.
Yep.
The kids get hysterical, and so they like working with him. Now, he was ADHD. Stefan gave new meaning to the word ADHD. My dad once paid him $5 to climb a steel pole so we could keep him still for a little bit.
Wow.
So when I have special needs kids,
yes,
you know how people put it down and then look at it negative? I say, you know what?
it's a blessing.
You've got superpowers.
Right.
You just need to know how to channel those superpowers.
Absolutely.
And as soon as you can channel them, you're going to be fantastic. So don't let anybody tell you different.
That's incredible.
And Stefan was on medicine because they wouldn't take him in school. When he was 13, he said, "Mom, I don't think I need it anymore." Okay. So we went to the camp where he had some trouble, and we started to leave, and they tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Mom," they tapped me on the shoulder, "you shouldn't leave." And we waited, and he won the Outstanding Camper Award.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to tell you.
You must have been a proud mother.
It's been 40 years ago, and I still get teary every time I think. And when
amazing.
I started the program, I said, "I don't know where this came from." And he looked at me and said, "Mom, don't you remember?"
Oh, wow. I wanted to talk a little bit. We have, in the background, we have these boots and the hats and the helmets. Can you perhaps talk a little bit about the importance of safety when kids are here?
Safety. Now, first of all, we provide helmets and boots because I don't think parents should have to buy. I don't think they should have to buy things for kids that are growing. So we provide helmets and boots. We get them donated. We go buy them. Nobody can ride here without a helmet, and they can't work with the horses without a helmet. And I tell the kids, they say, "Well, why do I have to wear a helmet?" I said, "What if you got plopped on the head?
right?
Um, Interesting. I have a boarder, and the first time she was going to ride here, don't mind my dogs are just playing. The first time she was going to ride, she started getting on her horse without a helmet. And I said, I'm sorry, but everybody here has to wear a helmet. So she put a helmet on, and lo and behold, she went over the shoulder of her horse, landed on her head. If she hadn't had a helmet on, it would have been a
It would have been a
disaster.
disaster. That is just commendable, and I couldn't recommend you highly enough to the community, to those children and women and men and disabled people. And I noticed that you have an intern who was a special forces person that's helping you.
Which one? I got a lot of.
He was here last time I was here. He was working with a horse, and he wants to be a psychotherapist.
Oh,
and he's
John.
an intern.
Oh, yeah, John.
John.
Well, he's not my intern, unfortunately. But when he finishes his internship, he's now learning to ride. When he finishes his internship, he's going to come to work here.
Wow! So you're going to have a wonderful help. And he understands PTSD,
Right.
and I got interested in this because I was a journalist for many, many years, and there was a time when we actually covered the story related to horses being used to treat PTSD, and veterans in particular do really well, much better than using medicine. If you use horses, they tend to get better and stay well for the long haul. And when I saw him, I thought about that. I thought, well, this is going to be really important for our veterans. And we just going to wrap up, and then I wanted you to go back to telling me what matters most. When you filter everything out, we talked about love, we talked about, the 3 C's, confidence. What do you think when you wake up in the morning and you go about your day? And I see what you do, and to me, you filtered quite a lot out of the bad stuff, and you pick the good stuff, and you're making people survive and thrive, not just survive.
Right.
Which is just an amazing, amazing concept. What do you think matters most in this world?
Karen, if you see, when I talk about what we do, I get teary because I think that we make a difference, and I think people know we care, and they say, which touches me, and I get teary. You just have to pardon me, but they say
I do too.
that people say they feel the difference when they come through the gates. That this is just a healing place. That makes me feel so good that I can provide something that people can benefit from just by being here.
Absolutely, and I'll tell you, I did not attend any of the psychotherapy classes. I do not ride horses. I intend to come here and learn to ride. But I feel like spending time here. I feel like I'm calmer than going to a spa and getting a facial. It's just so amazing, and I really would like society to pick up on this, and I hope you'll come back and join us for the next edition of What Matters Most, where we will probably continue talking about this because it is so very important. And before I go, can you tell us what is it that you need the
Money.
most? Okay, so we need
Well, that's a silly
you need, right,
and volunteers.
right, because you got the stretches, so now you need an infusion of cash so that you can hire professionals and other people that can come help you.
And and we need volunteers. And I want to tell you that they will find when they come that you get so much more from giving than taking.
That's a good point. I said that to my husband not long ago. And I think I mentioned to you, he was looking at our bank account and said, my gosh, you gave so much money. And I said, I'd rather be the giver than the taker, but giving gives me so much more. And I really couldn't emphasize that enough.
I do something interesting here, which is a little different. I do psychotherapy, but I can't teach kids social skills in my office. So a lot of my clients will come here and they will volunteer to get what they need. And the kids that come here that have social anxiety can work with the little kids on the horses, and gradually they can move up to where they don't have any more social anxiety. And so, and a lot of times people say, can I volunteer? What can I do? And that's why, our confidentiality is the ranch, because the outside is as healing as.
Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope to be here to visit the farm again. And I would like to thank our audience for being with us today. My name is Louisa Piet, and you've just watched one more edition of What Matters Most.